Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm the Obscure Joe PT, and for today I do bring you in here a surprise game. It is the Division 2, the private beta. I was invited and there is no NDA, which means that I can publish any video that I want about the Division 2. Nice guys, nice stuff. So this game, just like the first Division, it is developed by the Ubisoft Massive, and also like the first game, it uses the same engine, the fantastic Snowdrop engine, which has insane visuals. But in the first game they were kind of limited inside New York and with the snow environment. In this game you are in Washington DC. So this is the graphical settings for the game. I'm using 1080p custom settings because I'm using the same settings as the low settings, but I decided to make some changes like disable VSync, raise resolution scaling to 100%, which initially it was set to 75%, and also raise anisotropic filtering to 4 times. So this game, I feel that it is way more demanding than the first game, especially for the CPU, and that entirely makes sense because when you look to the minimum requirements of the game for playing at 1080p 30 frames per second, they ask for an AMD FX 6350, 8 gigs of RAM, and an AMD Radeon R9 270. I believe it should be R7, I'm not really sure. 2 gigs of VRAM. So none of the stuff inside my PC matches the minimum requirements aside for the VRAM and RAM, but CPU it is much more weaker, and also the graphic card. This is the results that I got with different settings. The high settings, it is not playable. The median settings was kind of acceptable with an average of 32 and a 1% low of 22. I mean, average of 32 and 1% low of 22. The low settings had the same 1% low of 22, but with an average of 36. And with 75% of resolution scaling with the low settings, I got a much better results with an average of 46 and a 1% low of 32. The only issue that I had with this benchmark is that it is very hard to benchmark, because every time you start the game you start in a different location. The weather, it is completely different. It can be raining, it can be sun, the time of day, it is completely different, and this entirely differentiates the frame rate from time to time. One of the things that I did notice is that on the menu there is an option, a benchmark tool, but unfortunately it is not available on the beta. So I do hope that on the final version we can use the benchmark tool to better compare PC components and also the performance between each setting. So this means that even with the lowest settings you might even find areas where you are going to get frame rates worse than 30 frames per second, despite with the low settings with 75% of resolution scaling I was having above 30. So other issue that I did notice with the game is that the CPU usage it is so high, and the VRAM usage it is so high, and the RAM usage it is so high that at some points if you are running through the map you are going to see texture loadings in front of you. So every time you lock the frame rate to 30 frames per second you are going to get a much better experience than having the game running unlocked throughout the game with 40 or 50 frames per second, but the game failing to load some of the assets. Alright, so other issue that I had is that since the game was using every stuff from the PC, when I was recording with AMD Radeon Relive, just like I'm doing right now, the performance penalty it is huge. One of the examples, it is by the end of this video you will be able to see that during the fightings between the enemies and you, I was having 20 to 30 frames per second and lots of stuttering, and when not recording I was having between 40 to 60 frames per second with no issues whatsoever aside from texture popping and stuttering. But again, if you lock the game to 30 frames per second, most of the stuttering will go away, and not only that, the game feels much more stable with 30 frames per second lock on a Phenom II X4 than running unlocked. So this is something that you should know about it. But make no mistake, the first game during the beta it was also like this, having a lot of performance issues, and then when I tried the final version the game was performing much better. Alright, so guys, that's all that I want to talk about for now, the private beta of the Division 2. Hope you keep enjoying the rest of the video, full of stuttering and low frame rates, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
I got it. Or I'll get it for you.
Hey, Agent. Thanks for everything.
If you're looking for Agent Kelso, she just left. I should have gone with her. But I'd only slow her down. I know you got your own problems to deal with. But them hyena motherfuckers took my little girl. To get to me. If you can help, I'll be on your debt. And I always pay my debts.
You're right next to the Grand Washington Hotel.
Okay, here we go. That should get their attention. Head to the service entrance on the east side of the building.
What the fuck was that? It came from inside the building? Oh, no shit, but what caused it? How the hell should I know? Assume the worst. Think someone's attacking? Who, you and me, let's do it.
Incoming backup request.
Once you're inside, find a way to the atrium.
Hostile radio intercepted.
We're under attack. It might be a diversion, so be ready. Take down. You are going up. Getting cornered. Go ahead. I'll cover.
Vital signs critical. Agent in need of backup.
What the hell you think you need that for? You ain't even alive.
Hostile radio intercepted.
I'm heading upstairs to the hostage. Everybody, get to the atrium.
Shit. Saint's here.
The who now?
Hyena big shot. Real unpleasant. We need to kill this asshole.
Incoming backup request.
Not one of mine!
Only good agents, a dead agent.
trauma detected.
Staying here. I'll keep it safe. There's plenty more.
I'll get you, fucker.
I've got it covered.
Hope that hurts.
Agent requesting backup.
Ammo's gone. Behind me.
Give up yet?
Nice asshole.
You went all the way to the top floor. Take the stairs to the right of the elevators and work your way up.
This is mine. Just try to take it. Come on, you piece of crap. This is mine. I'm loading on him.
Agent in need of backup.
Gun the bastard down.
This is it.
They're coming around. They're coming for me! I can't hit anything from here!
Launching grenade.
Incoming backup request.
Grenade out! You're not getting away with that.
No! No! We're losing people! Moving for a better shot! Hey! They're coming around the side! Run! Leave this one! Fuck! I'm out!
Agent requesting backup.